Okay, and we are back the next day on Ecclesiastes 3. Yesterday I covered 1, then 2, and the way I am speaking is down below in the link is for the playlist. All explanations are below in how I'm referring to life, presence, or absence, etc., and other things. And bear with me as I refine, to put it specifically, my expressions of understanding, my delivery, and whatnot. Like yesterday's reading on 2, I basically let it affect me a little too much. So some of it was good, and I think I just got a little too personal with it, which was fine, but that's not the point I'm trying to go for. I'm just simply trying to express understanding primarily without adding any baggage to it, any weight, trying to just speak neutrally. But there was so much absence being explained in 2 that I let it get worked up. And that is not how I want to be presenting understanding. So it'll there's going to be progress, there's going to be improvements. Everything's not perfect. I'm not perfect. I'm trying. I'm just explaining that afterwards I'm analyzing my videos, delivery, having them analyze and everything, and checking and seeing what I'm doing wrong and whatnot, and just seeing what could be improved and stuff like that. If there's improvements, I make improvements. That's all I'm explaining. Nothing is perfect, and that's it. All right, Ecclesiastes 3, a time for everything. All right, that's a little messy. For everything there is a season and a time for every matter under heaven. I'm assuming that's 1. And then 2 would be these 2, I'm assuming. This is just, it literally just looks like one long sentence, but broken up in 8 pieces. And that's what's like throwing me off. And it's confusing, like immediately, like what is all, it looks like a mess. For everything there is a season and a time for every matter under heaven. Yeah, that's just the flow. It's just, there's a season for things, there's a time for everything. Basically, that's all it's saying. There's a time and a season for everything. Flow. Deeper explanation, that's just the flow of life. I've already explained that many times. It's like the season, you call it, the seasons: winter, spring, summer, fall. That's literal reality. That's physical reality. That is the planet going around the sun and spinning around. Foundationally, that's what it's explained. That's what the season, that's what happens from that. And we name them seasons. If you want to take season literal. You know, again, what's the foundational pattern to season? The earth spinning around, rotating around the sun. That's the foundational literal explanation of a season. And that flow, the same thing as life. That is simply one more example of the flow of life. I know. I'm thinking that's how I want to deliver, not add weight to it unless it needs to, whatnot. Just name it simply, name it deeply, and there. And then let it be. A time to be born and a time to die. Which again, it just explains the process of physical life, physical living. Person is born, they die, that's biological living. What does that say? What is that? Deeper meaning of that? Or deeper expression or understanding of that? Referencing life. Yeah, I'm thinking out loud. That's why I said that. I'm just, instead of leaving silence, I'm just trying to add a little explanation for the silence, or not letting there be silence at all, and then I explain and I take myself off track. Shut up. A time to be born and a time to die. Oh, that's cool. Nice. That's cool. Time to be. I'm just trying to now. I understand it now. I'm just trying to take it from understanding and put it into words to speak. That's the difficult part. That is what I am working on. That is what I am improving. Because what is understood could be vast, far beyond what is speakable in an understandable way. And what's understood is easy, fluent, it's clear and processable. But just like hearing a song in your head, clear as day, but you can't sing the words. That is what I am refining. That's why I said, bear with me while I learn to do that better. That whole process. To basically sing clearly to the song that I am hearing within. But instead of a song, it's understanding of life itself. You get it? So it's a lot more complicated than just, a song. It's a lot more complicated. Which is why I'm even expressing it now and explaining it, to bear with me. Like between videos, like one, it seems like I'm ramped up. Next one's like a little more fine-tuned. It's like I'm learning here. I'm working here, I'm not coming out perfect. I'm not perfect. Nobody is. Well, just one was. A time to be born and a time to die. This is the beginning, so I'm not really, a little detour explanation ain't really too bad. It's like, now, okay, let's get to it. A time to be born and a time to die. A time to renew oneself and a time to refine, die, like refine oneself. That is the process of dying and being reborn. Refining oneself regarding life. It's like, what happens to, you're improving on something, what happens to the unnecessary things that you're improving on? They die off, they go away. And then once you're done with the process, what is left? It's reborn. It's clean, like birth. If you sit there, writing your own name on a piece of paper in cursive, the first time you write it, it ain't going to be nice. But if you could continuously write it and write it and write it and write it over and over and over endlessly until it is perfect, that's a time to be born and a time to die. What is dying is that whole process to get to writing your name perfect. It is born as in it is now perfect. I mean, yeah, you ain't going to write your name perfectly. It's just an explanation of it. But like refined, the process of refinement. You're burning, like, what's so, even with metalwork, what are you burning off in the forge? You're refining, heating up, getting all the chemicals. You're purifying the metal. What's dying? The impurifications. Then what's left after all of that process? It is born into the tool it was forged to be. Let's feed the pickle turtle. Turn around, buddy. They're behind you. That was good. And yeah, all that from that little sentence. Oh, wait, I think. Well, okay, I think there was more to 2 because it looks like 3 is over. This is what I mean. It's messed up. So 3 would be these 2, 4 would be these 2, 5 would be these 2, then 6 is done. Okay, so that was only half of 2. Okay, I'm sorry. See, this is what I mean. It's just a little, it's confusing, like just looking at it. Why? Because I'm sorry. Another explanation. I don't read ahead. I am reading one line, one verse, one number 2, one number 3 at a time. I'm not reading ahead. I'm not looking ahead. This is the first time I am reading this. So that's why it looks confusing. Okay, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to pluck up what is planted. Okay, I already, it doesn't add anything to the explanation. That's just, that's only the process. Like what a time that's a time to plant And a time to pluck up what is planted is simply the process of agriculture, or what's that word for, planting plants. You plant it as a seed or sapling and it grows up, or pluck it, you say like a tomato plant. There's a time to plant. There's a right time to plant it. You obviously don't do it in the wintertime outside. And there's a time to harvest, when the tomatoes are nice and ripe and edible. I'm taking that as when the forging process, the refinement process. What's that saying? There's best times to begin refinement, and then obviously there's time to pluck would be when refinement is complete. That just explains the whole process. It's like saying, like, you want to be a better person in a specific way. There's a best time for it, and then there's a best time to finish it. A time to kill and a time to heal. This is 3. A time to kill and a time to heal. A time to break down and a time to build up. Timing, a time for everything. Just a reminder, making sure I'm still on point, because I'm not. Is that there's a point to these already established a time for everything. So, like, that's one mistake I had to remind myself yesterday on 2:4. You remember the point? There was a point already established. So I got to read it like that first, which I somewhat failed to do yesterday with 2. Like I said, that I picked that weight up instead of analyzing it without picking it up, and I let that affect my responses. Which isn't always bad. It's just there was too much of that yesterday. A time to kill and a time to heal, a time to break down, and a time to build up. This is all just navigating timing. This whole thing, I guess that's all it's explained. A timing for everything. Which is informational. Now I'm grateful. I was hoping I'd come into this and I would be reading something that's new to me and not new to understanding, and not just naming things I already understand. A time for everything is like literally just that simple phrase to me says exactly what it says. There's a time for everything being the key thing. Like even self-refinement, there is simply a best time to do it. Like, example, if you want to be a more calm person and you are in a physically loud, obnoxious, disturbing environment, that is not the time to be doing that, because it's going to be more work, more disturbing, and it would be you'd be shooting yourself in the foot, basically. You'd be choosing to do it in a time that's working against you. So that's what this says to me, a time for everything. It's saying be mindful of everything, even self-improvement. Which I hope that explanation didn't just basically explain every single detail. I hate when it does that. When I just basically summarize all the contents based on the headline. I hate that. Because then it's like, okay, this says the same thing, that says the same thing, that says the same thing. It's like, dude, don't do that. You know? Thing, I don't care. A time to kill and a time to heal. And see, I'm just chilling now. I'm sorry I'm not being get down, get serious, you know? I'm just relaxed. A time to kill and a time to heal. Yeah, like I just said, yeah, there's a time to, like, again, using refinement as an example, because that's exactly what is being done. As far as like deeply within a person, that's where I'm pointing to. Because, well, yeah, I could explain that and what it means deeply within a person, that which is within, and also its reference to life itself. Oh, that's good. I think. Let me see. Okay. A time to I'm talking about that which is within. A time to kill and a time to heal. In refining that which is within, kill again would be like, again, in a literal forge, would be burning off the impurities of the metal. Whereas you take it with that which is within, it is the impurities within yourself. A time to heal, recover, and rest. You don't want to sit there in front of the forge, forging metal nonstop. You'll end up on the ground. Same thing with refining that which is within. You got to stop and smell the roses eventually, because if you just keep battling your demons inside, your skeletons in the closet, and that's what a time to kill means, clean out the closet. There's a time to take a rest too. Now, a time to break down and a time to build up. Now I'm thinking refinement. Oh, wait, a time to kill and a time to heal regarding life. Again, it's just more refinement. Again, animals, insects, biology passes away, and everything's recycled. Everything's biologically recycled. That's the process of life, physical life, biological life. It's like physical biology is just a physical example of life itself, the flow of it. Everything dies, makes nourishment into the ground to others. It's the cycle. It just that's the cycle of everybody knows the physical biological cycle of life. They're taught to teach that in school. Except that same process, that same flow happens with life in every which way. That's why it's like a time to kill and time to heal, refinement. Time to break down and a time to build up. Again, just like the seasons. A tree in the winter breaks down, it looks like just an empty husk, empty skeleton. And then what happens in the spring? It builds up. More process. What that means within a person, yeah, a time to break down. I'm taking breakdown as, you get overwhelmed. Now, speaking from within, that's where breaking down originates, not at the surface. What breaks down when it comes to that which is within? Weight. Unnecessary weight, aka skeletons in the closet, or others that people put that, or more that other people put in there. Like other people putting their own weight, their own responsibilities of life on you. And then once that weight gets to a point of unbearable, what happens? You break down. You start crying, sobbing, and everybody knows what a breakdown is. Except I'm aware of where it originates from. It originates from that which is within. And it goes outward. Physical breakdown is just the expression of that which is within. And what follows? A time to build up. You put the weight down and you build up. 4, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance. Time to weep. The loss of life. A time to weep and a time to laugh. Yeah, that just means crying and laughing. Sadness and humor. Heaviness and lightness. And that one, a time to weep and a time to laugh, is as far as what it means to that which is within, is a reflection of life. The loss of life, physical living life, still happens. That's reality. Death is still an absolute of physical reality. That is a time to weep. That loss of life. Doesn't matter if it's, physical loss or if it's a loss at all and it's regarding life, that which matters most. Anything that matters most is a time to weep. anything light, anything of life gained, happiness, harmony of life is a time to laugh. And it's also a time to dance, which is the next, a time to mourn and a time to dance. And that explains, actually that explanation was more, well, mourn and weep, laugh and dance, those are honestly the same, like they have the same flow. Like me laughing, the energy, it just like the feeling, it literally makes me feel like I just want to get up and just jump around. Like it just, there's this, I don't know how to put it. It's like there's a lightness where you literally just want to start dancing around. Not nonsense, just, I can't explain it. There's like just this urge of there's like this urge of movement where you just want to just release and just, I don't know actually how to put that. Laugh and dance. It's like I'm not explaining like choosing to dance. I'm talking like that urge, that feeling that makes you want to physically, bounce your head, or bounce your knee up and down, or just get up and just celebrate. You're just celebrating life in the moment. It's extremely hard to explain. But a time to mourn, again, that's just the absence of life, the loss of life. And again, that which matters most. It could be as simple as somebody mourning a childhood toy that they valued within. It doesn't always have to include death. I'm not, entangling it specifically to that. Even the flow of life, it's not entirely, death. It's like if you got a family of birds outside your house every morning for one season, and then they move away, but they're just not there anymore. And somebody appreciated that. That's a mourning of life. That's something to weep and mourn over. Nobody dictates what matters most to a person, that which is within. But most of all, I didn't say this yet, there is a time, a beginning and an end. That is time, a measurement. Time is a tool. I should have started with that in the beginning. Time is a tool, a measuring tool, a start, a finish. When it's talking about time to mourn, there's a time to start mourning, and there's a time to stop. There's a time to dance, to begin, and there's a time to stop. Five, a time to cast away stones and a time to gather stones together, a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing. All right. Again, there's time to begin and end, to cast away stones, a beginning and an end to gather stones together, a beginning and an end to embrace, and a beginning and an end to refrain from embracing. That's what that means without singling out to time, because time is too loose of a term. It's got too many things that could entangle to. That's why I say a beginning and an end. You start casting away stones. You stop casting away stones. You begin to gather stones together. You stop gathering stones together. You begin to embrace. You stop embracing. A time to refrain from embracing. You begin and you end refraining from embracing. That is time reference there. Now, I explained time. Okay, cast away stones. What are stones representing? Negativity, absence, impurities and refinement, and understanding. Cast away stones. That's get rid of nonsense. But then again, within understanding, nothing is ever gone. The weight is. Within understanding, you don't forget things. You don't just throw away stones like it specifically puts there. Like, I can't use it that way directly as it says within understanding. So, I mean, the castaway stones, I mean, let's see. To throw weight away, and a time to gather stones together, which is when life has weight. That's when you gather it. Ah, okay. And when the weight is not of life, you cast it away. That's a good way to put it. A time to embrace. Yeah, you don't embrace negativity. So obviously there's a time to embrace, when to begin embracing and when to end embracing. You don't walk up to a mean stranger and, well, actually you should. You really should. I was about to say, you don't walk up to a mean stranger and give them a hug. I'd like to. I really would. I would love to just randomly walk up to people on the street that just look like they need one and just give them the big old bear hug. Except sadly, you can't. I'd end up getting the crap kicked out of me, even though I just wanted to love everybody in a pure way, not being a weirdo at all. But again, yeah, there's specific times to embrace. What does that mean in life? There's a time to embrace things, and then a time to just let them be. Whereas in life, if you're with somebody that is embraceable, embrace them. Begin embracing them. Whereas if they're not, you don't. And a time to refrain from embracing is basically you begin refraining from embracing when you understand that it's not, when the thing is not worth embracing, where it's, you don't go hug a cat, you don't go hug a cactus, you know. That's the time to refrain from embracing. When you look up at the cactus, oh, I can get pricked. So you refrain from embracing. Six, a time to seek and a time to lose, a time to keep and a time to cast away. Again, this is just same thing I literally just said before. A time for everything. Literally, once I understood that, it's all just continuous explanation on the same foundation, which I have to refrain from simplifying everything. And just because I understand it doesn't mean everybody does, and that's the entire point of this. A time to seek and a time to lose, a time to keep and a time to cast away. When do you seek? When does that which is within seek? Well, a time to seek, that's just saying, you lose something, that's the time to look for it. A time to lose is the moment when you lose something. It's time to keep something. If it's meaningful, you keep it. You know what I mean? That's when you choose. That's what this is referring to, a choice. Whether it be your choice or life choosing, or, the flow of life choosing. It's timing. A time to keep and a time to cast away. Like I said, if it's something that doesn't mean anything, crumpled up piece of paper, see it, understand it, pick it up, throw it away. Just like the dead leaves on a tree. When they're green, they're worth keeping in physical life, in the process of it. And when they decay, they fall away. That's the time it falls away. Time to seek. Now I went backwards. Time to seek. Again, it's just all timing. It's just all explaining timing. It's just basically saying there's a time to seek and a time to lose. There's a timing to everything. Superficially, internally, externally, all the way to life itself. There's a time and a process for everything. And it's a time for everything. That's what I mean. It's like, how can I read verse by sentence by sentence, or verse by verse, and just keep repeating myself instead of just reading each one and then just summarizing the time for everything? So I'm sitting here thinking, like, what the heck else could I say other than sound like I'm repeating myself? Because I just simplified 1 through 8. Time to turn, a time to sow, a time to keep silence, and a time to speak. That was 7. Timing for everything. It's just explained there's a timing for everything. That's exactly what it says. A time for everything. It's like, how could I explain that any more simply than it already does? Do I know the timing? No, it presents itself. That's life. The process, it's basically just saying, everything has a process and a timing. And when it's in harmony and serving on the foundation of life, it's more in harmony, in flow, within a specific timing, time frame, flow, etc., within a specific structure. And it's basically saying there's a time for everything. I'm just trying to search, like, is there anything else? Is there something more? I'm just thinking out loud. Because again, if I just sit here in silence, what am I sharing? I'm not sharing anything. I'm trying to share as much as I can. Time to tear. You pick up a useless piece of paper and you want to tear it up, tear it up. I got important information on it. When you pick it up and see it and know it's, to tear it up, you tear it up. So it's like, what else is there to say? All right. A time to love and a time to hate, a time for war and a time for peace. Again, just talking about the timing of things. What's a time to love? That's not mine to say. That's life's to dictate and yours. So what else could I say on that? Love, hate, war, and peace. It's just talking about processes. Timing and process. There's timing for every process. There's timing for everything. Except that's all it's saying. So I'm like, well, that's useless. No, not useless, but it's like, well, there better be more after 8 the God-given task. Because it's like, you're just naming the timing. You're saying there's timing for everything, but you're not giving more. It's like, you're not helping at all. It's like, that doesn't help you at all. I mean, it's a start to do your own work, but it's like, it doesn't give you anything to go on. It leaves it all up to reaction in the moment. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, I want the structure, not the explanation. Yeah, there's a timing. Well, tell me the structure. What's the structure I'm supposed to be analyzing to tell the timing? That's what I'm saying. It's not giving crap. It's saying there's a time for it, but it doesn't give you any further insight than that. That's why I said, as soon as you understand a time for everything, it's like, the rest of it's like, yeah, it's just examples. Okay. Let's see if this is how this plays out. Because like I said, I'm not reading ahead. This is the first time I'm reading this. Let's just see where it goes. Because that was just too... I'm not bad-mouthing it. It was just... like, I want... like, where's the more? It was too simplified. Like, there's a time for everything, and that's it. It's like, then here's a bunch of examples, and that's it. Well, that's not very detailed. Unless I'm wrong. I don't care. Let me know. I love understanding. Understanding is impartial. It is what it is. It doesn't matter if I agree with it or not. It's like, I don't like gravity. I don't agree with that. I like to fly around if I could. But guess what? Too bad. That's understanding. It's too bad. I understand it, but nope. The God-given task. Excuse me. Good. I brought water this time. Except slowly to wet my palate because I don't want to be drinking a lot of water and have to continuously interrupt. The God-given task. 9. What gain has the worker from his toil? What gain has the worker what gain has the worker gained from his work? It's just asking what he gained. Well, it depends on what the work is foundationally for. Is it in service of foundationally in service of life or anything else? Anything else as foundation isn't a gain of life, isn't a flow of life. So either the gain is an absence of life. Doesn't matter if it's weight and what its weight in gold is. If it's an absence of life, it's an absence. I'm not dictating what people should be valuing. I mean, people can value whatever they want. But in regards to life, what gain is it? If it's in life, you gain life. I have seen the business that God has given to the children of man to be busy with. So it's stating you have seen the tasks that God, that which is God has given to the children of man. Who are the children of man? I gotta look that up. Oh, all of humanity. So children of man refers to all of humanity. Okay. I have seen the business that God has given to humanity to be busy with. Well, if he's talking about the business that comes from God, that would be life, the very essence and flow of life. That which comes life is that which matters most. Period. In every way, shape, or form. Down to that which matters most to everything, down to the singular existence. If it's based on life, it's that which matters most. It doesn't matter if it's a childhood toy or what. It's the reverence of life. That's the foundation. If it's remaining, that's the business of God. And they're saying, I have seen the business of God has given to the children to be busy with. The tasks given in life. The person saying they have seen the tasks given. That's what that's stating. 11. He has made everything beautiful in its time. Also, he has put eternity into man's heart, yet so that he cannot find out what God has done from the beginning to the end. Oh, wow, that is awesome. Oh, that is cool. Oh, man, that is nice. He has made everything beautiful in its time. Again, that's the process of life. There is nothing more beautiful than the foundation of existence. Like I said, it doesn't matter if it's a childhood toy or existence itself, everything in between. There's no hierarchy. Just because one thing is one thing and another thing is another thing in measurable size to others doesn't mean it matters more or less to life itself. That's how everything is beautiful. Like once you see life, everything is beautiful. Even this little turtle is sitting there taking a nap next to me in its tank. That little turtle's singular own existence in life, function, process, flow, etc., is beautiful. Me, whether I like turtles or not, is completely 100% irrelevant within understanding of the beauty of that turtle to life itself. That is everything beautiful. That is seeing everything beautiful. Like, just stop and think about a human being, for instance, how dynamic, intricate, even just the physical body is that we know of. And just think about that, like really, really dig and think about that for a moment. All of that coming together to form even just the physicality of a singular human being. How is that not absolutely effing beautiful? Like, that is beyond explanationally beautiful. And I'm not talking about what it means to me. I'm talking about what it is and what it means in life and regarding life. Also, he has put eternity into man's heart. Heart is just another word, lesser word actually, than that which is within. That is more of a physical, emotional term. Whereas, where does all that come from? Emotion, that comes from that which is within. Where do you think the initial spark comes from that ignites your emotions? It comes from that which is within. Everybody's most processing is simply inverted. They think the physical is dictating the internal. It is not. Emotions come forth from within. They don't start externally. Externally, if something makes you emotional externally, that's just the initiator of the event. The effects of the event, the initiation of that is from within. You're not suddenly emotional out of nowhere for no rhyme or reason. If you pay attention within awareness of within, that initial spark of emotion starts within the very core of yourself. If it doesn't, I apologize, because it does for me. Everything sparks from the very center of my existence, my being. Whether you call it physicality, that, the intangible, that which is within. That's what the heart there is referring to. The very essence of man, of humanity, of the singular human. And as far as eternity goes, yeah. When it comes to presence of life, to name it absolutely simple, it is infinite. It really, really is. You cannot process an end to life, the essence of life. The absence of life, that's absence. That doesn't continue. That's absolute. So that is the eternity part. Yet so that he cannot find out what God has done from the beginning to the end. Meaning, if all you're able to understand is that there is infinite understanding of life and the process of it, life itself is infinite, and that the only authority over it is that which is God, then it truly is infinite until God himself, that which is God, determines otherwise, because he is the only one of true authority of it. So therefore, you cannot find out from the beginning or the end, because we are unable to understand, perceive, contain, etc., the end of the essence of the flow of life itself, because that would mean all of existence became absent. Nothingness. No life, no nothing. Just complete total absence. That's what end is. And is there that regarding the essence and flow of life? No, there's not. Basically, there's no off switch from the inside of life. Life itself will keep going and going and going until, to put it in a childish way and in a simple way, until that which is God shuts the switch off. Until that happens, it's infinite. It's eternity. That's why that was so awesome. That is my understanding of it. That's what yeah. He has made everything. He has made everything. I just want to read this again. That was nice. He has made everything beautiful in its time. Also, he has put eternity into man's heart, yet so that he cannot find out what God has done from the beginning to the end. But if it's also referring to, well, no, because find out. See, you can't find out. We are endlessly finding out. Process. The process is infinite. The process of understanding life is infinite. Life is infinite. Where only God could shut it off, because that which is God is the creator of it. And understanding that was cool. I like that. Oh, come on, gas. I'm freaking gassy again. My burping. I'm drinking water. Come on now. I gotta get a shorter seat because I'm sitting a little too higher than my desk, so I'm leaned over. It has me in a not so flowing position for my my processing, internal processing that's making gas come up. 12. I perceive that there is nothing better for them than to be joyful and to do good as long as they lived. Pretty self-explanatory. That's, I mean, it's simple to me. How do I explain that simply? It's right there. I understood that there is nothing better for them than to be joyful and do good as long as they live. I guess what I didn't do in the last one, I didn't really explain the simple thing it was named, in which that is self-explanatory in that sense. As far as where it goes in regards to life, there is nothing better than to be joyful and do good as long as they live within the structure and flow of that which is life, that which matters most. Otherwise, an absence is an absence. And that wouldn't be joyful or good as far as life goes. Not that it wouldn't be joyful and good for yourself. So I'm sure those who do bad for monetary things are joyful and they're doing good for themselves after doing bad. But that doesn't make it good. (13) Also that everyone should eat and drink and take pleasure in all his toil. This is God's gift to man. Again, pretty self-explanatory. With a little... That is... Ooh, actually, that's... You could take that the wrong way. Very easily. Everyone should eat and drink and take pleasure in all his toil. Except that it says that is God's gift to man. Keyword there is this is God's gift to man. And what is God's gift to man? Life. The flow of that which matters most. So where should we be eating, drinking, and taking pleasure in our toil? Because the toil should be on life. That is what you enjoy. That is the only thing that is pure to enjoy, that doesn't give absence, negativity, problems, issues, etc., etc., etc. Absence and ignorance do that. So again, if you're eating and drinking, taking pleasures in your toil that is self-serving or serving something that doesn't flow, that doesn't continue, that just is whatever, is out of life. It's only got, it's only downhill. Because again, presence and absence doesn't mean you can't enjoy absence, but it's still follow the rules of reality, of existence, of life. And that which is not of life ends. They're on the corner doing some kind of construction work to the road or something over there. I don't know if you heard that little bang it. But can't do anything about it. Can't go out and yell, "Shut up, man, keep it down, I'm recording." Actually, I do that laughingly. That'd be funny. They'd start cracking up. Oh, you see, that's what I want to do. It's something like that. They're making noises, go, "Quiet down, I'm recording," and then just start laughing. See, that's life, just nonsense. Just, I'm just taking a negative and just making play with it. And people always laugh and light up with that. I love it. Even just imagining it for a moment is joyful. See, that's life. That's life. Even in imagination, the process of life, just lightness, just being, taking even a negative and inverting it. It's fun. That is life. That's food for the soul. It's food for that which is within. 14, I perceive that whatever God does endures forever. Nothing can be added to it, nor anything taken from it. God has done it so that people fear before him. Pretty self-explanatory again. It's saying, I understood that whatever God does, now, it says it endures forever. It's infinite. Nothing can be added to it, nor anything taken from it. God has done it so that people fear before. That is referring to that which is life itself. You can't add to life. You can just participate in the flow of it. Even a newborn baby. You think you're creating life? No. You're participating in biology. That's all. Physicality and biology. Are we more than that? Yes. Do you have dictation over even that? Or over even physical, other than the choice? But the process of life is always the foundational absolute. It either is or it's not. Presence and absence. Those are absolutes of life. And that's what that's saying right there. God has done it. As in life itself, the essence and flow of it, that which matters most, comes from, is expressed from, etc., from that which is God. Because something cannot come from nothing. Nothing is the absence of everything. Nothing can come from it. Nothing can only reproduce itself. So that people fear before him. Now, I am going to speak honestly of myself for that. Not boasting, not claiming, no nonsense to it at all. No dishonesty, none of that crap. And nor am I telling anybody else how to be either, okay? I'm being a little defensive on that first, because I know how people could take that completely out of context. God is absolute. Fear what? There is no choice. Like if the process of life is to happen, it's gonna happen. There's no fearing it. It's gonna happen. If God dictates something to happen, it doesn't. What's there to fear? The outcome. Don't project into the future. You don't live there. You don't exist in the future. You exist in the now. In the current moment, the endless moment of now. So what will be shall be regardless of me. What is there to fear? If God wants me to even cease to exist, I will. It will be. To take it to the extreme, it will be. What's there to fear? There is no argument. There's no stopping it. It is absolute. The only fear is like the unknown, or it's not. Oh, it doesn't align with what I want. Well, too bad. To me, I'm talking to myself. Like, too bad to me. What am I going to do about it? So why live in fear? If it's not right now, happening in the now, in the moment of now, I'm not going to carry weight of a made up future that doesn't exist. So I'm not going to fear God. God could do anything and everything, and I am nothing to argue against it or stop it. So it's like, what do I have? What's there to fear? It is absolute. The only thing to fear is whether you're in presence of life, in the flow of it, in harmony of it, etc., or the pursuit of it, which is basically the same thing, or are you existing and living in absence of it? That is the only true fear to have in the moment of now. Alignment. Which are you aligned with? That which is life, that comes from that which is God, or absence, which is the only thing truly worth fearing, which is the absence, your absence of God and of life, which would be not existing at all. But then again, even with that, there'd be no fear at all, either. So again, where's the fear? The fear is just adding weight onto your back. Now, I can't speak on presence because I've never seen God. I don't know how to. I don't create an imaginary authority figure to fear. God doesn't want you to fear him. He wants you to harmonize with life. I'm not going to. I always refrain from speaking as if I can speak for God. Nobody can. But if life itself doesn't want anything to be an absence of it, there is no absence in life. It is that which matters most. So I'm going to say if that's life, then I'm pretty sure God doesn't want you to fear him. He wants you to fear the consequences of absence and its absolute ending. That's how I take it. So I don't fear presence. I fear absence. Not really fear. It's I know it and I don't want it. Get it? Like, no. I'll understand it, but I'm done reflecting on that nonsense. It's like presence all the way. That's all I want. presence of life. It's like I'm not denying fear ain't there. I'm just denying any weight to it, okay? Because there is no weight to it. It's not here right now. There is no, I'm not being judged right now. I am still alive, still living, still making a conscious choice whether to be in presence or absence, and I can't stop picking presence. So fear is understood, understand it, and just not being carried. That's all. Not boasting anything. I'm not, no ego nonsense, no nonsense. That is just me expressing me right now on fear, the fear of God. And who am I? I am simply a singular human. I am simply a singular existence as a human being, participating in the flow and being of life. That's all I am. That's before it even matters about who I am. Rather, somebody asks, well, who are you? It's irrelevant. What I am is relevant in that regard. In life's regard, even. That's what I am, and that's all that matters regarding life. Lips are dry. I'm sorry if that went a little off or if that bothered anybody. I don't mean to. I'm not expressing anything negative here. No boastful, not ego, not any of that nonsense. Not saying I'm not ignorant of anything. I'm just expressing myself there. Now I'm just talking while putting chapstick on. Well, digging out my finger a little bit because I forgot to pick more up because this is, it's right to the top and I can't put it on anymore because it's right below the surface level and I forgot to stop and pick some up last night. So now I got to manually put it on my finger. 15, that which is already has been, that which is to be already has been, and God seeks what has been driven away. What? Hold on. That which is already has been, that which is to be already has been. That's a tough one. That which is already has been. What, the flow of life? That which is to be already has been. Nothing new under the sun. It's just the flow of life. There's nothing new being created by life. That's it. Well, as far as this section, that which is already has been, that which is to be already has been. Life. There's no more creation. Do you see any new creatures being created from life, from that which is God? No. Creation happened, and now we're in the process of being, in the flow of life. It's not new, it's simply the flow of life. Again, just like biological cycle. You know? Things above ground pass away, they nourish the ground, and more other things on the ground. And yet more come, and living, then death, back and forth, born, die, over and over. It's process, biological process. And nothing new comes to be because it's already made, it's already in flow of. It's already in flow of itself. And what God seeks, and God seeks what has been driven away. I don't get that. God seeks what has been driven away. Driven away from what? Driven away from life? I mean, I don't, it's like, that's like a curveball. I can't see how that attaches to the previous bit that's there. That which is already has been, that which is to be already has been. But what's been driven away? Because now I'm trying to think, did I misinterpret the beginning part? Did I misinterpret that which is already has been, that which is to be already has been? And what the heck's driven away? Driven away by who? From who? From where? What? It's too vague. Driven away from people? I don't know. I'm not going to put words in their mouth. I mean, I can answer it if it meant driven away from people, from life, from from. But that would be like going from one layer to a completely different one within the same frame of 15. This I'm interpreting as talking about the whole flow of life, the whole process. Life was created, and it's left to proceed with itself, the flow of itself. Nothing new is added. It's left to flow itself. So it's like, what has been driven away? I mean, I'm assuming that's death. Is that after we are no longer physically in the process of life? Is that what that's referring to? He seeks, you return after you're not physically here anymore. That's what God seeks. I'm assuming that's the only way I could interpret that right now. And I'm not gonna. I've already hour and a half. Oof, yeah. I didn't want to take that long. Done. Unintentional. I don't give a shit. One more. Let me get a drink because I'm starting to get raspy. Oh yeah, that's definitely better than freaking diet soda. I got an acid reflux problem, so diet sodas. It's not healthy to drink a lot, but it's one of the common things I can drink a lot, like constantly, and not have acid reflux problems. Because I grew up with severe issues, not knowing until my early 20s that it was primarily soda, a regular soda rather. Well, yeah, water is definitely helpful for the throat and talking, obviously. From dust to dust. 16. Moreover, I saw under the sun that in the place of justice, even there was wickedness, and in the place of righteousness, even there was wickedness. It's talking about corruption. The infection of what's that called? When infection spreads. Basically, the spreading process of infection. Oh, infection inhabiting everywhere. Wickedness, right? So then there's wicked. Why the heck did I say infection? Wickedness. Yeah, infection, it's reference. But instead of wickedness, absence of life. That is wickedness. Wickedness is not of life. It's not of the flow of life. Life is not wicked. Therefore, it is an absence of life. And that is saying it is basically everywhere, which it is. It is everywhere these days, and everybody knows it. And if you want me to name why real quick, it's ignorance of life. Because the foundation given is to serve the tools and not serve the life the tools were designed to serve. I will not say any more than that. 17, I said in my heart, God will judge the righteous and the wicked, for there is a time for every matter and for every work. Again, right back to a time for everything. Again, life, the flow of it, the existence of it, etc. It comes from that which is God. It belongs to God, that which is God. Because I keep saying that which is God, because God is just the definition, the explanation for that which is absolute above all. That's why I say that which is God. Yeah. Judgment for the righteous and the wicked. Whoa. And there's a time for every matter and for every work. Again, timing for everything. It's all about the flow. Everything in the moment of now flows into itself, into the future, and flows back. You receive what you give in the now later. That is why the now is continuous. And there's the investment of life and flow of it. Invest in the now, and what comes later into the now will be returned of life. That's the flow of it. And that's for every matter and for every time, for every matter, every work. 18, I said in my heart with regard to the children of man, to humanity, that God is testing them, that they may see that they themselves are but beasts. Yeah. If you turn a person primal, literally primal, that is bestial behavior, bestial embodiment, etc. Remove the very essence of self, and what's left? Males here. It's like if you have an empty husk of a person that's physically existing, but there ain't nothing in essence going on, like it's just empty. That is closer to a beast. They would behave like a beast. They'd have no conscience, no thought. It would be just pure, output with no filter, no nothing, no valve, just be complete, total, just uninhibited output of natural instincts. I forget. I know natural instinct, but is there something else too? I forget. All right. Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry. Like, God is testing them. I mean, see themselves are but beasts. I mean, that which is within is not a beast. The physicality, in absence of that which is within, is a beast. But that's only half the equation. I don't know how you could refer that which is within as a beast. I mean, if it's an absence, yeah. If your essence within, if you are corrupted in absence for whatever reason, then yeah. So, I mean, look at the world. Look at the things people do. That's not in service of life. That's more of a beast with tools. With tools and nonsense. Where they're eliminating the very essence that allows them to exist for the most stupid reasons imaginable. Sorry, that was a little venting there. Just taking a moment to silence. Put the weight down. See, you get worked up because you keep picking up that nonsense. The weight of the nonsense, not just the information of it. See, that's what I mean. Like I said earlier about refining this over time. It's like that's one of the specific things I am working on doing, because obviously nobody is perfect. When it's needed, I'm trying just to remain, understanding, but leave the weight of things where it needs to be. Don't even pick it up unless it has to be picked up. Meaning, don't get worked up when it doesn't need to be. $19 for what happens to humanity, to the children of man, and what happens to the beast is the same. As one dies, so dies the other. They all have the same breath, and man has no advantage over the beasts, for all is vanity. How is it vanity? I'm confused. Well, what's the beasts? Is that animals and beasts, or is that the body? Wait. I don't know. I really don't. I have no idea. Because I don't know what beasts are referred to. Is it just talking about, biological flow of existence, of reality. Talk about just, we all die the same. I'm assuming that's what we all have the same. They all have the same breath, the same breath of life, and man has no advantage over the beasts. I don't know. So what was that saying? To control nature like we try to do, and we actually do, cause things to go extinct because of our nonsense. That is vanity. I'm assuming that's what that's saying. All right, I'll move on. 20. All go to one place, all are from the dust, and to dust all return. Physicality, yes. Again, we all know the process of biology. That is what this is referring to. Our physical forms, our physical bodies were, it said, born from the dust. What the dust is specifically, I don't know. Dirt, round, yeah. Basically, the chemicals in our body could be found on in the earth, etc. On in. All go to one place. If that refers after, then yeah. Again, if you're talking biology, again, doesn't matter if it's a human being or an animal that gets, say, buried under the dirt with no box, no nothing, just put in the dirt and buried, then yeah, all go one place. Nourish the ground and everything in it and everything on top of it, coming from it. And everybody knows that biological cycle. As far as that saying anything within, that which is within is not dust. That is from the very essence of life itself, or else we would not be at all. We would be mindless beasts with nothing going on internally at all. It'd be just robots in flesh with no programming. Just, I don't know. I'm not going to stop and think about that. See, that's what I mean. It'd be like you'd have to stop and think about what's the natural state of man in nature. We are so far from that, we don't know. You got to think about that. If you were like a beast, like just running on your natural way of being, like, what is that? Like, what would that look like? What would that be? You could explain the process of like a skunk, a raccoon, a deer, a bear, an elk, anything, a fish. We can name all the purposes, their functions, their doings, etc., why they do things they do, and then what throws a monkey wrench in humanities is our essence. But if you analyze humanity, like even just yourself in absence of it, what would the function be? Pure biological function, and it's like, I have no idea. I'm not talking about a directed one, a directive from that which is God. I'm talking about with no input at all, just natural instinct, natural function. What would that even be? And see, things like this I love to sit here and contemplate on. Which actually, I just peaked at 21, and it seems like it goes to that, what I just explained. About the difference between the essence, with it's saying spirit, and the flesh, the body. 21. Who knows whether the spirit of man, spirit of humanity goes upward? Oh, I got a headache. Who knows whether the spirit of man goes upward and the spirit of the beast goes down into the earth? Who knows? I know half of the equation. We all know half of that equation. Who knows whether whether your spirit goes upward? Because, well, I mean, it depends if you're in absence or presence of life. I mean, it's stated things, but there's things stated, oh, you go up to heaven, whatnot, etc. All those explanations, but you yourself as a singular individual existence will not know for certain until that moment arrives. Until then, it is endless speculation, opinions, theories, etc. for the singular individual existence. A singular person will never know until the moment happens. Because literally until it happens, you truly don't know because it hasn't happened yet. So therefore, doesn't matter. It's endless theory for the self. Because the self hasn't gone through it yet. Therefore, it is not reality until it's in the now for the individual. So everybody could be convinced and knowing there's a heaven, you're going up after you die in presence of life. But until experience happens, until reality happens in the now, the process of life, living, existence, etc., happens in the now, in the very moment. Until that time arrives, for the individual, it is unknown, inexperienced, second-hand information, or further along than that. 22 and the final one, excuse me. 22. So I saw that there is nothing better than a man should rejoice in his work, for that is his lot. Who can bring him to see what will be after him? So I saw that there was nothing better than that a man should rejoice in his work, for that is his lot. Yes, I can completely understand that. Anybody could anybody can enjoy their work or rejoice. But when it's in service of life itself, now life, I'm talking life itself foundationally, not a function of living. Functions of living are supposed to serve that which is life. People enjoy their service for society or cultures and whatnot. But if those are self-serving, enjoy them all you want, but they're fruitless. They're fruitless of life. Or at least as much as it can be in more presence than absence. So, should I rejoice in my work right here? Yeah, because what am I in service of? What am I expressing and understanding? Well, anytime I say I'm expressing myself, I say I'm expressing myself like I did earlier about fear of God. But other than that, I am simply expressing understanding of life itself, its essence, at which matters most. Take a breath. Whew. That is what I am sharing. That is my work. That is my fun. That is my play. I love doing that. I love analyzing and understanding and awareness of life itself and its flow. And sitting here talking about it into a microphone so other people can learn some understanding. I'm still having a blast. I'm still having fun. Am I getting paid for this? No. Will I? I don't know. That's not what I'm investing in. I'm not investing this in society. I am simply sharing life into society, into cultures. Life will determine whether that pays off or not. It already is, but I'm talking about sustained living in the functional structure I live in, which is societies and cultures. Sadly, I got to play 2 games. Life, and then explain parts of society that are built to serve society and not life, to name it simply. Hence, uploading this to websites and whatnot. Nothing better than who can bring him to see what? No, this is good. Who can bring him to see what will be after him? Who can bring him to see what will be after him? Meaning, who can bring him to see what his works will produce? What fruit will his works produce? Who could do that? God, that which is God, I guess. Obviously, that which is God, but other than that, nobody. So you got to think, well, if you're not going to see the fruit of your labor, why do it? That's the incorrection right there. That's being incorrect and fractured. What is the point of that? Life. In service of life and its continuation, its flow, its understanding, etc. If I record, hypothetically, say, I don't know, 300 videos or say 500 videos before, actually, even that's less. That's a low amount for 10, 15 years. Say I record for the rest of my life, no matter what that number is, and nobody ever sees it, understands it, listens anything until after I'm dead. Does it still matter? Yes. Why? Because it's in service of life and harmony of it. That's what makes it all worth it, even if I'm not here around to taste the fruits of my own fun, my own labor, etc. Yeah, it's still work. I'm still sitting here talking and expressing understanding, etc. for 2 hours. This is still work. My throat's still getting raspy. I'm still taking the time out of, I'm still choosing to do this and now, but I'm having fun. I'm enjoying this beyond description, beyond explanation. I am loving this. This is fun for me. This is what I've been doing internally my whole life. And that's the point of sharing. I've been doing this my entire life, analyzing everything with an understanding in regards to life. I've just never spoken it out loud before. And now I'm doing it publicly as if I'm on a stage or I don't care. That's the whole point of doing this. That's what makes it fun and work and play, because I've been doing it my whole life. I'm just choosing now to present it. Like, here's my understanding of life, what I've seen by processing it in what things are themselves instead of what everything means to me. That's why the understanding is worth sharing, because I'm not sitting here saying, this is what it all means to me. This is how I interpreted it to me, to me, to me, to me. Understanding is impersonal, impartial, or I forget the word. I have it in my notes. The saying of it. Understanding is like impersonal or impartial, neutral. Basically, understanding doesn't care if you like it or not, or you agree with it or anything, or you reflect on it. Expression does. Expression is personal. That's why I'm expressing from understanding, and I'm trying to keep myself out of it. That's why I continue to say, when I express, okay, this is coming from me, versus coming from a neutral understanding prior to what it means to me. That's the difference of understanding. Because statistically, and this is not my analysis, this is only my research, and found out 85 to 95% of people by default unprocessing refer everything within awareness processed through the self. What it means to the self, what it has to do with the self, etc., etc., etc. You could look that up yourself. By all means, I'm not joking. That's not my number. That's not my analysis, nor my statistics. But that is one single fact that drove me to do this. Also a fact, not the sole fact. Because it's like, if that many people are, processingly self-centered, to just name it simply, not naming it in an attack way, or you can't help how you end up being through your early life. That's all I'm saying. It's just with that number of people perceiving everything to self-centeredly, not in a negative way, in a processing way, then somebody not doing that information is valuable to share. So I share it. So who can bring him to see what will come after him? What will be. I'm doing what's right by life. I'm enjoying it more than I've ever enjoyed anything before. So that's what I'm going to do. Whether I'm here to see it or not, it's that which matters most, above me, beyond me, in spite of me, regardless of me. So I already have the answer. Be in harmony of life, toil, work, etc. in life. And what comes after is irrelevant. Life is in the current moment of now. What matters is what you do in the now continues and flows in life, because it will continue to flow. Because if it doesn't flow forward, it ends. So tell me, which kind of work matters? Even when you're gone. The kind that continue because they can continue and they're in reference of life, or not? Not the self, but life. Now, I was going to try and do 4, but I've taken 2 hours to do this, and I'm not sure I'll have time to do 4. So I will try to do that tomorrow, not to mention my throat is getting raspy and dry and cracky. So, happy Friday the 13th. Sorry, I love Jason movies. The character is awesome, entertaining, not really this kind of discussion stuff, but everybody has their entertainment, and if you leave it at entertainment, it's innocent. But, well, not really. I'm just not a tightwad. I'm not really that. Forget it. Happy Friday the 13th. You all have a wonderful, life-filled weekend.